Happy winter holiday season, everyone. It is definitely that time of year when we want to cozy up on the couch with our loved ones and watch holiday movies. So, on this episode of Big Blend Radio, we're going to kick off with one of our favorite Big Blend Radio from the Vault podcasts. This one features Steve Schneikert as he recalls the classic Christmas movies like It's a Wonderful Life, The Man Who Came to Dinner, A Christmas Carol, The Bishop's Wife, The Wizard of Oz, Meet Me in St. Louis, Miracle on 34th Street, and many more. After that, you're going to hear a conversation with travel writer Barbara Redding, who takes us to two holiday movie museums. One celebrates It's a Wonderful Life, and the other is all about A Christmas Story. We hope you enjoy. Happy holidays.
'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Silver bells, it's Christmas time in the city. Come, they told me, pum-pum-pum-pum, me and my drum. It is holiday time again. Before you snuggle up on the couch in front of the TV with a bowl of popcorn, a plate of cookies, and your mugs of hot chocolate, you first have to decide just what films to view. Truth be told, there have been many memorable holiday movies made in recent years, but the old classic ones continue to be real favorites for the young and old alike. It's a Wonderful Life, 1946. It seems to be everyone's favorite, and for good reason. In a world of conflict and cynicism, it is refreshing to see the nice guy, Jimmy Stewart, win in the end, and good triumph over evil. 1942's The Man Who Came to Dinner, starring Monty Woolley and Bette Davis. Admiration to Ms. Davis for accepting a secondary role at the time, for she was one of the biggest movie stars in the world, already having won 2 Best Actress Oscars. A Christmas Carol, 1938. This is my favorite version of the Charles Dickens classic by far, starring Reginald Owen as Ebenezer Scrooge and produced by MGM. 1947's The Bishop's Wife, starring David Niven and Loretta Young as the bishop and his wife. Cary Grant plays the angel sent in answer to a prayer that has been offered by the bishop. You're out of the woods, you're out of the dark, you're out of the night. The Wizard of Oz, 1939. A wonderful holiday classic, watching Dorothy follow the yellow brick road wearing her ruby reds while trying to get to the Emerald City to meet the all and powerful wizard. Meet Me in St. Louis, 1944. Judy Garland has kicked off those ruby reds to play Esther Smith. Vincent Minnelli's superb direction takes us to the beginning of the 20th century when electricity and long-distance phone calls were still marvels to behold. 1947's Miracle on 34th Street, starring Edmund Gwenn and Natalie Wood. Do you believe in Santa? Other wonderful film classics include 1942's Holiday Inn, 1944's Going My Way, and 1954's White Christmas, all 3 films starring Bing Crosby. 1937's Heidi, starring Shirley Temple, 1951's The Lemon Drop Kids, starring Bob Hope, and 1934's Babes in Toyland, a.k.a. March of the Wooden Soldiers, a true Christmas classic starring Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years we all will be together if the fates allow. So have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to all. I'm Steve Schneikert, and this is Hollywood History as I recall it.
Okay, so now, we've heard about these wonderful Christmas movies. We've watched them. There's so many favorites, right? But travel writer Barbara Redding is back here on Big Blend Radio to talk about 2 movie sites, filming locations that you can visit now to get really into the holiday spirit. And go to Barbara's website, barbararedding.com. Welcome back, Barbara. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Glad to be here, Lisa.
Hey, I love this that you have been to 2 sites, and let's talk a little bit about them because you've got It's a Wonderful Life. You went to the museum, and then the house from A Christmas Story. So the Wonderful Life Museum, isn't that a destination you went to recently?
Yes, I was there in the fall, and I was there as part of a trip visiting the Finger Lakes region, and we were going to the town called Seneca Falls because that's also where the women's rights movement began. It's considered the birthplace. And so one of our stops was at It's a Wonderful Life Museum. And I'm a big fan of the movie, but I did not know that a lot of people believe that It's a Wonderful Life was filmed in, or not filmed, but that it was based on the town of Seneca Falls. As if you've seen the movie, and I know everybody loves it, the fictional town is called Bedford Falls. But when you go to Seneca Falls, you realize how similar the two are. So there's quite a backstory about how Seneca Falls came to be the inspiration for that movie and for the director who happened to stop through there while he was in the midst of writing the script. So that's a great story. And the other museum is a house from A Christmas Story. And if you've all seen that one with Ralphie, remember Ralphie? And this was really a coincidence. I was in Cleveland, Ohio, basically to see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we had rented a house, and it turned out to be just down the street from the house from A Christmas Story, which is now a museum. And so I was like, I have to go, and so I went, and that museum is fascinating as well.
I want to go back to Seneca Falls. Nancy and I were there a couple years ago, one morning early, and we went to a National Wildlife Refuge, Montezuma National Wildlife Refuge. Beautiful.
I went there too.
Oh, did you go? Oh, isn't it gorgeous? Oh,
it is really nice.
Yeah, I went on a nice wildlife drive and sat and had our morning brunch there. Yes, we do have champagne brunches in wildlife
Good for
refuges.
you.
But yeah, we were driving from Connecticut to see a friend in Michigan, and went all through upstate New York. Didn't get to the Finger Lakes like you did this year, and but went to Seneca Falls and stood on the corner, the women's rights corner. We were there so early in the morning because we tend to go into wildlife refuges and parks and things at dusk. I mean, dusk and dawn are good, but at dawn so that we can see the wildlife and watch everyone wake up and the birds just, as they start singing, and they did. It was a beautiful sunrise. But downtown, I mean, that is Seneca Falls. I mean, the history, we need to do a whole show on that. We really do. I got to go around, but not inside the actual National Park Service Museum. Did you get to do that? See, I'm already digressing from our topic. I'm terrible.
No, I did not get to go there, but
Yeah.
we did go to the wildlife place, and it was really amazing. And we also, as I said, when we were downtown, I couldn't help but notice how similar Seneca Falls looked
Gorgeous.
to Bedford Falls in the movie It's a Wonderful Life. And the museum is just, it's it's just kind of a very nostalgic movie buff kind of trip back in time, because they have taken like all kinds of memorabilia from the movie and put it together in
Mm.
this kind of a storefront museum. And basically, the woman who runs it has like a poster board where she points out all of the similarities between fictional Bedford Falls and real Seneca Falls. So it's really a trip to get to go to that museum.
I want to do that, and I want to go back to Seneca Falls big time. We were there early in the morning, the downtown, and just all the water.
So
You
cute.
know, it's just it's just picturesque charm, and there's so much history there. So the movie is part of that, So I think that is fantastic for folks to be able to go and see that and to be part of it. If you can do it now, that's great. But I was also reading that the museum is also part of the first movie theater that was in town, the Seneca Theater as well, which was built in 1913, which is really cool history as well to go. I love old theaters. I don't know how you
Mhm.
feel about them, but you know, like the old Fox theaters and things like that. They used to really decorate the theaters up back in the
Right. And
day.
that is their permanent home. Right now, that building is being renovated. So they're
Okay.
actually, kind of closer to the center of downtown. They're in an old bank building, which
Hmm.
is kind of interesting too. But they're hoping that the renovated old movie theater it will be their new home starting in 2026. They hope to be there in time to celebrate the 80th, believe it or not, anniversary of It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool,
Hmm.
right?
Yes, and they are actually what they do, because the movie came out right before Christmas in 1946. They're celebrating the let me see, that would be the 78th anniversary, December 13th through the 15th. So if anybody's in Seneca Falls, that would be a fun place to be.
Right now I'm feeling like I would like a Christmas martini. It keeps happening when we're doing all these holiday shows, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'd like a Christmas martini, please. Would you like one? We could get someone
Oh,
to serve us one
lovely.
right now. Wouldn't that be
Yes,
lovely? And
that would
because
be
it just
lovely.
feels going back in those time frames, right?
Uh-huh.
A martini would be just fabulous right now. But um, the House from a Christmas Story. All I know is I'm jealous of the leg lamp. I want the leg lamp. I want the legs that go with the leg lamp. And I think that ship has sailed.
Well, okay. If you would like to buy a leg lamp, I went to the museum, which is basically the house where it was filmed. In this case, um, the It's a Wonderful Life was actually filmed in a Hollywood studio in Hollywood, but it looks
Hmm.
like Seneca Falls. Now, in the case of A Christmas House, it was actually filmed in this particular house in
Wow.
this kind of a working class neighborhood of Cleveland. And so the person who bought the house and turned it into a museum basically added furniture and all of the things to make it look that house. But they also opened a gift shop, which is, bigger than the house itself, than the museum. And it was stocked with leg lamps, teeny leg lamps, medium sized leg lamps, I mean, it was just going in the gift shop was just hilarious to see all of the different size leg lamps in the gift shop. So there is a leg lamp for you, believe me.
Okay, everybody and you can buy them online. So you can go to Right.
Yes, that's
They have
right.
it. Just go to housefromachristmasstory.com. And for the Wonderful Life Museum, go to wonderfullifemuseum.com. The links are in the episode notes as always, including Barbara's. And Barbara's got stories coming out on her visits, especially upstate New York. I know one is going in the Food, Wine, Travel magazine, done by the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association, which is how we met Barbara. And that's part of what she was doing upstate New York is what they did their annual conference. So watch for that at fwtmagazine.com. But I know Barbara keeps everyone posted on all of her publishings through her social media and her website. But going back to the House from a Christmas Story, the gift shop is online. You can buy things right there, but it's really, as soon as you click on gift shop, you do see the lamps. They have bunny slippers. I mean, this is interesting what's going on there. I don't mind bunny slippers. But they now have like a house next to it that you can spend the night and be in the hood, the Bumpus house.
Exactly. And I think that's a relatively new addition. And I did walk over there. If someone was staying there at the time, so I didn't really get to see it. But you can rent the whole house or you can rent different sections, and it really seemed like it would be a fun place to stay. And I was in going through the museum, which is really the house. Everyone who was there was so familiar with that movie. I mean, I had a guy that climbed under the kitchen sink for a photograph, which was in one of the scenes from the movie. And it was like everyone on my tour was just so familiar with every single part of that movie. I was just really impressed.
That is cool. And so now it's actually owned by a veteran owned company, which is pretty cool too. But they did, their latest CEO is Joshua Dickerson, and that started last year. So this is it has to be someone who is into the movie and into nostalgia. And I love it because I know people travel and go places like they have their own maps of movie locations that they've been to. That's what they do as part of their travels. Like, Nancy and I do parks. Other people do movie locations or anything to do with a movie, whether it was the town like Seneca Falls that inspired Bedford Falls, or, hey, we have to go to Cleveland because this movie was filmed there. They will detour just for that, which I think is fun.
Yeah, I do too. And there was actually, there's across from the house in the museum, there is actually a restaurant called the Rowley Inn Food and Spirits. And they have a leg lamp in the window.
Back to the leg lamps.
And so we decided we had to go and have dinner there. And it was, it just, again, kind of, there's a whole atmosphere. You can go to the house, you can go to the gift shop, you can stay there, and you can have dinner at the Rowley Inn and just kind of have a Christmas Story experience from beginning to end.
Yeah, because that was in there. Yeah.
That
was in there. Yeah. That's cool. Like, Northern Exposure, the TV series, Northern Exposure.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
We got to go to Roslyn, in Washington State where it was filmed. And I was very disappointed because there was no moose in the street. I wanted the moose. John Corbett was not in the radio station, but the radio station room was there. It was empty. And I think, just started our podcasting journey. So this was got to be like 2008 or 9 when we went there. And I looked at Nancy. I'm like, come on, man, let's move. Let's move. And then we found out how much snow they really get. And we were like, no, but they have the original bar from Northern Exposure. And they have like a spittoon, because back in the day, this is how spittoons were. The spittoon was like a little indent at where your feet are on the bar stool, all around down the bar. But they have like an annual like yacht race down the spittoon with little boats. Little,
Oh, how funny.
I know, but I can say that I went to the the bar from Northern Exposure and I loved it. I didn't
Hmm.
expect to be one of those who really cared, but I did. I cared,
Hmm. Yeah.
but I
Well,
want my moose.
I kind of felt the same way. It was kind of like particularly in the case of the house from A Christmas Story. I mean, I didn't know it was there. I was just staying down the
Yeah.
street, and I was like, I was fascinated by the idea of seeing that, and kind of felt the same way in Seneca Falls because I really didn't know that story either. But once I had a chance to visit the museum, I think it just the details and the additional information, it just kind of opened your eyes to how much else is going on in a movie. Just a lot.
So much does. I know Natchitoches, Louisiana is where they filmed Steel Magnolias, and it is a local true story.
Mm.
And Robert Harlan wrote, the play, the book, and it was his sister who died from diabetes, right? And
Oh.
portrayed by Julia Roberts, and Dolly Parton was in town, Daryl Hannah, Olympia Dukakis, and so many people in town became extras, and
Hmm.
we met one of them. She has since passed away. But this was a while ago, back in the 80s, right? And so it's so interesting because I think it's like 35 years old or something, the movie, maybe older
Wow.
now.
Uh-huh.
And every time we go there, we hadn't rewatched the movie. And then we were there last year for the turning on of the lights because they have over 300,000 Christmas lights in
Oh
Natchitoches.
my.
It's one of
Uh-huh.
they're celebrating 98 years of it
Wow.
this year. And
Hmm.
we finally got to see it after, recording podcasts with them for 10 years. We finally get there and see that. And we've been there before and everything, but we really knew the town well. But finally, Nancy and I saw a rerun of Steel Magnolias.
Hmm.
And having covered so much of that community for so long, I mean, really, I mean, I could do my own podcast on Natchitoches. It's the oldest settlement in Louisiana, by the way, y'all. Anyway, um, famous for meat pies. I felt this like serious connection to it, and I was like, wow, they went here and we were there and they went here. And then the Christmas festival was part of it, part of the filming, because it's part of that real story. And
Hmm.
it just kind of like, wow. And I think with a real story kind of really kind of touches you. So it is interesting to rewatch and having been there and realize how much goes into a film. I mean, it's
Hmm.
pretty epic when we look at, the budgeting, when people say, it was like a low budget or a really big budget. And you start to realize how many people get involved and how it becomes part of the community. In both places that you went, did you hear about how it like affected the community? Because people are excited when a movie comes to town, and it does a lot for a community, brings a lot of attention, and it's an economic driver. Did any of them focus on that at all, or was
Yes,
it?
I
Yeah.
definitely felt that way. I think Seneca Falls has kind of really embraced the idea that it inspired the movie, and so I think it's part of the information that they provide to visitors, and I think they
Mm,
really encourage visitors to when they come to the area for whatever reason. I think a lot of people do come to Seneca Falls because of the women's rights, uh, facilities there. But then, they want to encourage people to stop by the museum. And as I said, they have this annual festival that's dedicated to the movie. And, I think they get a lot of benefit out of, kind of recognizing that the town may have inspired the movie. I think in
mm,
the case of the Christmas house or Christmas story house, it's really a very much of a working class neighborhood. But I had the sense that people were renovating their houses around the museum because it's the kind of place where if people wanted to come and see that they would like to stay nearby. And so I think it's, an economic stimulus to that particular neighborhood in Cleveland as well.
Mm. Awesome. Awesome. Well, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and yours, Barbara. It is always fun having you on the show. And it's great to hear that, folks can go and experience both of these sites now before and during the Christmas season, but also put it on their list for next year if they don't get there this year.
Right. I think that's fine. As I said, I was in Cleveland in September and it was a long ways from Christmas, but I still enjoyed going to the A Christmas Story house. And I was in Seneca Falls at about the same time. And I still enjoyed seeing the house and kind of remembering the movie, even though it was not snowing in Seneca Falls.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, everyone. BarbaraRedding.com, and have a happy holiday season, everyone, and enjoy those movies, those Christmas movies. Get some popcorn. Ooh, what is your favorite movie treat, Barbara? How do you cozy up for a Christmas movie? I mean, do you have the cocoa with
popcorn.
Marshmallows? Popcorn?
It's popcorn. Now, I love popcorn and M&Ms. My favorite.
Okay, you are part of our family now officially, but I will say cocoa with marshmallows. You're allowed to spike the cocoa or hot chocolate. You're allowed to spike it. That's allowed. Christmas martinis are allowed.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we could celebrate together, and I want to make sure and wish you a happy holidays too if I don't talk to you again.
Thank you. Thank you. We look forward to more stories from Barbara. She's traveled the world and she keeps traveling the world. And even right before we recorded this, we're like, uh-oh, she's got a lot of stories to share. So stay tuned for more episodes with Barbara. Take care.
Thank you. Good to talk to you again, Lisa.